Have you given your consent?
Well, I have consented to this recording.
Okay, good. Again, I'm not deleting this part. Hi guys.
The audio part last time because it makes no sense.
No, it's completely pointless. It ruins the entertainment for the first segment of it. Hi guys, welcome to celebratory episode 21 of No Balls Cricket.
Yes. As you can see,
Celebratory, as you can see, the cap is out.
as you can see, the cap is out. I have my India shirt somewhere, but I have just moved houses, so I'm not going to look for clothes in the midst of this mess.
No, it's okay. Nobody needs to be reminded of the 92 World Cup. Anyways, their one day jersey already looks like that. It's fine.
Yep.
We were shit in that as well, so it's okay. Lots on our show today. The debut of Javo. We will get to that later. So I couldn't resist, man. I couldn't resist.
For anyone who knows context, that Java is not actually on the show yet.
Yeah, but well, he made his international debut. That's what I'm more worried about. Whether he's on the show or not is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Second of all, we discussed the two test matches that went on this week in India and England in a 5-day classic, and West Indies and Pakistan in a 4-day classic.
Yeah. Insane stuff.
Insane. Brilliant stuff. What a great week for test cricket. If anyone thought the format is dead, think again. God damn, this week was crazy. So with that, we will just swing. We will not do a roundup because there's only 2 games. So we'll swing straight into the West Indies-Pakistan game.
Yeah, so that game was mental. Basically, Pakistan started batting. Pakistan's batting collapsed pretty much. They just about eked out to 217 in the first innings, but then the West Indies batting showed up, or as much as it can. Took a small lead of around 40 runs, and then the second innings crapshoot happened, and West Indies made it a very dramatic victory on the 4th day. While chasing a target of 168, they got there with 1 wicket to spare with newly minted non-tailender Kemar Roach.
His comment was brilliant though. After he wins the game, he's like,
that comment was brilliant. If anyone hasn't seen this, he's basically said, it was new for me to be batting with the tail. I am the tail.
Kemar Roach, you are gold. But yeah, the West Indies batting. Craig Brathwaite showed up in the first innings, got 97. Babar Azam showed up in the second innings for Pakistan, basically forged a lone hand until Kyle Myers got, of all the random bowlers in the world, Kyle Myers got one to spit at him, and some ridiculous delivery got the top of the handle of the bat and he got caught it slip.
He got a fifer in that innings.
Jaden Seals got a fifer. First, I think he's the youngest West Indian fast bowler to pick up a fifer, something like that.
Yeah.
He's their first teenager or something. Well,
that's what I think.
So that's what we've been told. And also, of course, it's a West Indies game where they win in epic fashion. Guess who's commentating? Guess who has an epic line?
Of course, Ian Bishop.
They win by 1 wicket. Just 1. So much emotion, so much raw emotion. What a day for the West Indies.
Just the replay of the final ball with Ian Bishop's commentary on.
What do you want me to? We'll get copyright infringement. If
No. I mean, I'm saying anyone who's watching or listening to us right now, go take a break from listening to us and go watch it.
Yeah, just go watch it on YouTube.
Watch it while recording.
While we're, you can come back to us after the game. But watch it. It was epic stuff. And it briefly popped the West Indies into top spot in the World Test Championship ladder, because both India and England managed to lose points in the first test for slow over rates.
Yeah, 2, and then they lost points.
Yeah, lost 2 points each for slow over rates. So the West Indies briefly popped up onto the top of the test match ladder. But that only lasted a day because of what happened in the India and England test match, which we will get into in greater detail. But basically, we will do a separate episode for the West Indies-Pakistan series. We will get into that test match in detail. We will have Ian on, so we have a West Indian voice.
We'll let Ian talk, or if we'll just tell him to sing Rally Around the West Indies repeatedly. But yeah, he'll be here.
That's pretty much what's going to happen anyway every time he's on the pod. So there's no point in even sugarcoating this anymore. He'll sing.
One line about the match, he'll start talking, oh, this bowler, blah, this happened, this batsman happened, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll end the line with rally around the West Indies and khatam.
I mean, that anyways is our basic end credit,
True.
So yeah, we're unabashedly West Indian fans. Um, but before we are West Indian fans, we are Indian fans.
Yes, of course.
So without further ado, let us get into what happened in the second test between India and England. And let us just remind everyone that Javo made his test debut, number one. Number two, um, number two, that this is going to be much like our first episode. This is our 21st episode of No Balls Cricket Unfiltered. It is going to be a celebration, much like we did then after the Gabba. We are going to do after Lords.
Yeah.
Carry on.
We be extremely biased. There's no, we are not hiding this at all.
I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to hide it. For some reason, I don't know why we don't have drinks on this episode, why we had it on the last episode. But anyway, our alcoholism knows no bounds.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, Mr. Devrat will take us into what actually happened in the cricket match.
Yeah. So, quick summary: Joe Root put India into bat, which I think a lot of people were questioning almost instantly. India got this great opening partnership between Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. I think the first century partnership away from home since 2010. I think for the first wicket by India.
Something stupid like that.
Yeah. Clearly goes to show how shit our openers have been outside of Asia in the recent past.
And 1 minute, hang on before you go on. This includes the whole Dhawan, Rahul, and Dhawan versus Rahul. Dhawan versus Vijay debate, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't. Does I can't even remember his name anymore.
Swayam.
Yeah, does Swayam even listen to us regularly?
I don't think so. I think since Guddu left, they've all left.
Okay. Anyway, the Dhawan debate wasn't settled. To be fair, so was the Vijay debate. Neither of them is.
This is true. In case anyone wants to go back to the Dhawan versus Vijay debate, you can go back to our previous episodes. I think they're the first 3 or something that we ever recorded.
We're talking episodes like 1 to 4 types from when we weren't even doing video.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, point being, our openers did well. KL Rahul got a great century, but we collapsed from 267 for 2. I think it was to
276 for 3.
But I'm not even counting.
You're going. Okay, take it. Got it.
When we got out. Yeah. To 364. Honestly, at that point, 450, 500 was on, and we could have avoided all the drama of the last day. But there you go. We currently don't have a middle order. We have tailenders batting at 3, 4, and 5.
Well, that was on day 1. Also on day 2. That was on day 2 rather. They showed up later in the game.
Yeah, day 1 and day 2. Yes. Yeah. England have a one-man batting lineup, except for that one man. We let him score 180 runs this time around instead of just a smaller-ish century. So then that with some timely contributions from Johnny Bairstow and others got them to a 27 odd run lead. I think it was 391.
Yeah, 27 run lead. So some notable things that happened there was a few notable things that happened in that England first innings. Obviously, Joe Root's 180, Johnny Bairstow getting 57 and then getting bounced out by Siraj from around the wicket, which was unique because I've never seen Indian bowlers do that to anyone. And it actually worked. Well, I've seen it happen, but it's never actually worked. It worked this time.
We've done it.
Never worked.
We've got that famous Srishant to Jack Callis ball.
That was from over the wicket. I've never seen someone go around the wicket with a leg trap and then try and bounce him out. And it worked. So Bairstow
at Lords in 2014, that didn't involve any around the wicket bowling.
No, that was all over the wicket. 1 minute. First of all, Ishant Sharma was bowling long hops, and they kept hitting it to the man in front of square on the leg side. You go watch that game again. Anyway, that's a different story. He picked up 7 for 74 in that game. Hilarious. If you want to see inept England batting, look no further than that game. But there was also some in this game. So after they got 391, the denouement of that inning was basically Jasprit Bumrah's 10 ball over to James Anderson, where he basically had a go, hit him on the head hit him on the head twice, I think. No? Once he definitely hit him.
I think he hit him on the head once and hit him on the chest or shoulder-ish once more. Also.
He hit him all over the place. Didn't get him out. Bowled a 10 ball over. There were no balls, slow balls, Yorkers, all kinds of shit that went on in that over. Then Shami got him with the last ball of the day, which meant that India were batting on day 4.
Right. Yeah. India were batting on day 4. For once, the openers didn't have a good partnership, which I was actually kind of secretly happy about because I wanted the middle order to finally show up. And to an extent, they did. Kohli got out for 20, but it was at least his most fluent-looking innings of the 3 he's played so far on tour.
Yeah, but then he has to go and poke at one from the fucking mosquito.
Yeah, no, that's true. But at least he finally started looking like Virat Kohli a bit. And then to that end, Cheteshwar Pujara started looking like Cheteshwar Pujara again, and by which I mean he just was there throughout. He was just there.
So there were two very loud cheers from the crowd. One when he got off the mark, which was after I think about 40 balls.
Yeah.
Okay, that was number one. Number two, when he hit a
Hit 100.
what the English would call a dentury, which is basically Pujara reached his 100th ball, he got a cheer. Made 12 at that point. Ended up
Yes.
with 45. Rahane showed up as well with 61. And I think in hindsight, you look at that partnership now and you think, it basically led us to a position of, I wouldn't say safety, but a position where we could challenge to win the game.
Yeah, it was crucial. You want them to be scoring bigger runs. You do, even though Pujara is Pujara, you kind of do want him to score a little quicker than 45 of 200 and whatever balls it was. But it helped for sure. That innings, at least at the very least, it staved off defeat. And then, of course, the on the start of day 5 is when the real magic happened. Rishabh Pant got out early, and then somehow at that point England forgot how to bowl.
No. So no. Hang on. You have to put this into context for the viewers. Basically, what happened was, right, and this is no balls cricket context, so it'll be a bit skewed, obviously. Dude, hence we call ourselves no balls cricket. Because if we made sense, we wouldn't make sense.
What a line.
Well, yeah. Come on, we have a few epic ones. Right. So basically, what happens is Pant gets out. Ishan Sharma comes in, blocks a bit, and then actually Robinson got him with a real good ball. He bowled a knuckle ball to him and got him LBW, pinned him. Right? That's when the fun started. So Shami had come out. Butler had been chirping about how there's only 2 wickets to go till Shami, right? Bumrah comes out, and then everybody in the England team decides that they want to kill him instead of get him out. Right? They all chirped. Everybody chirped, tweet, chirp, all of that. Everyone had a go at him. Then
all to get revenge for that one over against
one over against James Anderson. And I mean, okay, hang on. I can understand if it's a younger cricketer, maybe a Sam Curran or a fucking Hasib Hamid or someone like that, but James Anderson has been playing international cricket now for 18 years. You should know better than to take on a team that basically now we know thrives in adverse circumstances. Yeah. I mean, just look at what they did at the Gabba.
Exactly.
But of course, England do not heed this advice.
James Anderson, I get he's our only really genuinely good bowler that we have, so let's protect him in that sense. And we don't want him to get injured. But in terms of we need to rally around this one guy because he's being attacked. Like James Anderson can take care of himself, man. Like he's not.
Yeah, James Anderson does not need the whole team to stand up for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, exactly. What ended up happening was then they give the ball to Mark Wood. Now Mark Wood has injured his right shoulder while diving the previous evening. Right? Yeah. Wood has a proper go at Bumrah.
Off the field at the start of the day.
Yeah, he was off the field at the start of the day.
And his shoulder was probably too injured to bowl the way he was bowling.
Anyway, so Wood has a proper go at Bumrah, right? Couple balls fly over the corner. Then suddenly he falls over and he's clutching his shoulder. Now we know he can't bowl anymore. So that's one thing.
He still keeps bowling.
He still keeps bowling. Anyway, what ends up happening is suddenly they decide that now we're not going to give you any more free, they're going to remove all the catchers and no more freebies. So spread the field, right? And it was in this beautiful hour and a half play between, I think, 11:30 when Pant got out and about lunchtime where this partnership basically took hold. And suddenly you realize that these guys have just lost their marbles. They've stopped trying to bowl. They're just trying to kill the batsman. Yeah. And Shami is playing covered drives. Bumrah is playing straight drives. He's hit the stumps twice at the non-striker's end.
And basically every time you're going for the short ball around the wicket and then you're not really bowling good short balls, you're just asking to be picked off. Even tailenders will hit those runs, man. It's a dead pitch. The ball isn't moving. You're not actually attacking them the way you should. They'll still get their runs.
Yeah. And lo and behold, a lead of what was 180, effectively 180 for 8 when they walked into bat.
Yeah.
turned into 272, I think, by the end. Yeah.
And just pointless bowling. Like I don't understand what happened there. And I actually just saw a stat today. I shared it with you. It's not even that they like were look. It's not even like they were looking to bowl to bounce these guys out, because they might have been trying to at least, but they didn't do it well. They only in 28 overs they bowled 21 bounces. You're allowed 2 bounces an over. Let's remember in Test cricket.
Yeah.
You guys didn't get to 1 an over. So
Yeah,
that means
because they're 1 minute. First of all, their bowling attack is so shit that only Anderson can actually bowl. Wood is the only one who can bowl bouncers. Okay, so that's two bowlers, right? Okay,
and he was injured.
and Wood was injured, and Ollie
Wood was
Robinson
cranking up the pace. He had enough in him to bowl at like 90, 95 miles an hour a couple of times. But he's again they're not at an average of 1 bouncer and over. So all their short balls are shit short balls, not threatening short balls.
Yeah, and Bumrah's basically hacking, and Shami's hacking, and then Shami decides that he's going to. Then Moeen Ali came on, and Shami basically decided, "Yeah, beta, this is my Chandi now," and he launches him for a couple of boundaries, and then one massive six into the grandstand to bring up his 50. It was great theater, and it carried on. So we went into lunch, I think 200 and something, or 260 odd something ahead. Came out after lunch, and the best piece of epic Virat Kohli induced shithousery I have ever seen in my life. Okay. Shami comes out to bat. Then, halfway through the first over after lunch, decides that he needs his thigh pad changed. Okay. It took, I kid you not, and I timed this, it took 11 minutes for the thigh pad to get changed, by which point Shami has stripped. He is standing half naked with his pants half down, his equipment littered all over the place for them to get the thigh pad out. Okay. All that is brilliant. Kohli is there dressed up in the dressing room, getting ready, spraying some fucking links or something on him to get prepared for fielding. You knew the declaration was coming. You just wanted to see how long this shithousery would last. It lasted 2 overs. England could not get away.
Overs, huh? Like
It
they
lasted 2 overs.
declared in the middle of the second over after Shami had gotten 2 more boundaries.
Kohli had said, we've set them a target, 60 overs they have to bat. If they survive 60 overs, they survive. 60 overs, we will give ourselves to bowl them out. That was the target. As soon as Shami got that thigh pad, and I think they crossed 270, and then he realized that, okay, now I need to declare so we can get to 60 overs. Declared. 60 overs, you thought, okay, it's a dead pitch, not much is going to happen. Fifth day. But I was watching it at that point and thinking that if we got one or two early, it could change.
Yeah.
England being England, they ended up being 1 for 2.
They literally we got both openers out for 0.
It's the first, by the way, it is the first time
that both England openers have gotten ducks in a home test in an innings.
Yeah. Just bear in mind the amount of cricket that England play, in Test cricket that England play. Do you know how ridiculous that stat is?
Playing longer than anyone else. Apart from yeah, exactly. And we come in, Shami and Bumrah, who are on a high after the batting and obviously revved up by all the verbals they've been taking from the England fielders, come straight in, charging, dishing some verbals of their own. The whole India team is like cock a hoop, just like yelping at every single ball, and 2 wickets fall in the first 2 overs.
That first hour or so was just, the first hour of that English innings was pure theater.
Could have scored very quickly. Rohit Sharma dropped a seamer. I think again, I can't remember who was the bowler. It was one of these two, either Shami or Bumrah.
No, I think it was Shami.
Yeah.
But Ishant Sharma then comes on. He picked up Hamid. Then he picked up Bairstow as well. Root was still going at that stage. And you thought, okay, if Root can survive for a bit.
The ball was getting older.
Getting older. So Ishant Sharma got Bairstow just on the stroke of T, which left them 67 for 4 in a very dicey situation. 6 wickets to get last 30 odd overs to 35 overs in the last session. And fifth day, so all the overs had to be played. Then Bumrah produces probably the ball of the match to get Joe Root. I thought, because Root looked completely unflappable. Even in the second innings, he looked like a dream.
Yeah, exactly. In the middle of all that pressure, Joe Root was batting like it was some sort of club cricket game where he's head and shoulders above everyone else. And then Bumrah bowls a perfect outswinger right after, first over after tea, breaks the back of the England innings. But to be fair, then Jos Buttler and a little bit of Moeen Ali, a little bit of Ollie Robinson, you thought they might still be in with a chance of saving that test. And again, of course, India being India, that means Kohli dropped Jos Buttler at one point very early on.
Just to add to all the drama of all of this, then he throws the ball to Bumrah. Bumrah has a few verbals. Then Kohli's angrily finger wagging to Joss Butler about something. Then Bumrah decides, "Ki chalo, now I'm going to kill Ollie Robinson." So two bouncers, one straight one. Then he goes round the wicket. Another couple of bouncers, and then to top it off, there's a no ball in there as well because Bumrah. Um, and then he produces the most perfect Sean Marsh-esque slow ball, if anyone remembers that from a few years ago. Perfect. From around the wicket, traps him. Umpire says, not out, no doing. Kohli's like, chalo, let's go. Let
Instant
us go.
that replay is worth watching because he literally just he charges out. He has beach mein laga hai, matlab ki, like, in the sense for to our non-Indian listeners, non-Hindi speaking listeners, asking whether it's pitched in the middle. Instantly, the Kohli normally does his whole thing of ki 15 seconds. I'm gonna wait 14 seconds, look, smile, and then do this at the very end. Kohli's instant this time. Reviews gets proven right.
Yeah, gets it right. And basically, the game was then over within about 15 minutes. Oh, we're also forgetting Mohammad Siraj getting getting Moeen Ali and then getting Sam Curran for a king pair. The Machar for a king pair. Can you imagine? The Machar for a king pair.
Sam Curran still gives us nightmares, I think, from the 20.
Yeah, he's still the mosquito. But
yeah, so getting him out for a one-ball duck, a golden duck twice in the same match is golden.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, king pair, boss. The term says it. Anyway, but what a crazy thing. They needed 60 overs to bowl England out. They only got through 51.5. So we had 8 more overs to get those wickets.
Literally, England did not reach the score that had we declared overnight, we would have still won.
Yeah, but England being England, it was completely, let's be honest, it was pretty inept batting.
It was inept batting, it was inept bowling, it was inept captaincy.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point Joe Root should have just been like, okay, dude, guys, come on. This is not, these are tail enders we're bowling at. Let's just calm down and bowl a normal length. He let that go on for way too long. Though England got a lead after the first innings, I still think the call to put India into bat was the wrong one. Though you can understand at that moment when the toss happened, there was overcast conditions and England bowlers, India batting, you backed that equation, but I thought that was the wrong call. Basically, outside of his batting, which was a great innings, I think Joe Root didn't have a great game.
Yeah, outside of his batting, I don't think Root had a good game at all. But I also feel that England, oh my God, they're so lacking in so many areas. Okay.
Yeah, this is a weaker England team we're facing.
This is not a weaker England team. This is a team that isn't worth any test match playing nation's time. I think even the West Indies could beat them at this stage. They're that bad. Yes, Ian, I have said this before, and England have lost to the West Indies in the West Indies. But I think if this exact 11 took on the West Indies in England, they would win.
Right. So we should send England on tour to Zimbabwe or to Ireland and see how they fare there.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, we know that, Stuart Broad got injured. Ben Stokes is taking a mental health break. So it's and then the batting lineup in any case, even with Stokes having been there or been a regular, the batting has been a question mark for England for a long time. This is not a new, like, they've just not found the top 3 basically.
No, absolutely. And I think their main problem, other than the openers, okay, they've tried Sibley and Crawley's opened a couple of times, and Burns has been pretty consistent. To be fair to Rory Burns, I think out of the 3, he's probably the best of them, and he's probably the only one that remains, I think, unmovable. Crawley's already been dropped. The news for the next test is Hamid's going to come in and open, and Ollie Pope apparently is going to come back and play number 3, which would be very interesting considering that Ollie Pope is basically in Bell.
They have all these county cricket talents that they keep touting, and of course, county cricket has just been demolished by the ECB anyway. So that in itself, the talent pool becomes an issue. But Ollie Pope has never batted at 3. He's a lower order batsman. He's a lower middle order batsman. He bats at 5 or 6 for his county, and you're going to stick him in at 3 in Test cricket against one of the best, if not the best, bowling attack in the world right now.
Possibly the best bowling attack. I think. Yes, we lost the World Test Championship final, but I think we got the balance in that game wrong. I think if we'd gone in with 4 quicks like we did in this game, we probably won it.
Yeah, probably.
Well, at least drawn it. I wouldn't say win.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the very least, we know that you have between India, New Zealand, and maybe Australia, these are probably your top three fast bowling attacks.
Yeah.
in the world, and India's amongst them. It's gonna be a baptism of fire for Ollie Pope there. Yeah, and there's just Bairstow's had his troubles in Test cricket, Butler's had his troubles in Test cricket, Moeen Ali's had his. These are all, we know, they're really really talented batsmen. They do great in limited overs. They do great in certain
Yes.
conditions.
Kohli also chirped. No, Moeen Ali walks out to bat. First thing Kohli says, "This is not white ball cricket, lad."
Kohli was brilliant. Listen,
He
I'm
also told Anderson that the Lords is not his fucking backyard.
which to be fair is quite a claim, because Lords is
It's basically his backyard.
Lords is pretty much Anderson's backyard.
Yeah.
But fair enough. The chirping from Kohli and the rest of the team, was, I mean, I love it. I know there are a lot of people who don't, but I love it. But yeah, point being, England have all these like naturally gifted, talented players who, especially in the batting department, who just may not be the perfect batters for the Test lineup. But you keep putting the faith in
Look,
that.
their Test lineup has been ad hoc for a very long time. So I think it's now reached a point where you're just like, you've given up on them essentially. They've been papering over the cracks, as Andrew Strauss said on the post-match. He said that they've been papering over the cracks for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, and again, go back to what he said. He said that had they survived and got a draw out of it, maybe you could have carried on with the same team. With the way they lost and getting bowled out inside 60 overs,
exactly.
On a pitch that was basically doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You needed extreme pace. We saw that snorter that Mark Wood bowled to Pujara the day before. But also Pujara, Mark Wood bowls at 90, 95 miles an hour. Now, Bumrah on his best day probably touches 90, maybe. He's quick, but he's not Mark Wood quick.
No.
In theory, we're not supposed to have the bowlers to get the best out of the pitch. We bowl relentless. We bowl hard lengths. It's a good bowling attack. But England, ideally, a good batting lineup does not fall in 60 overs.
No. You come on, you can survive a half decent batting line. The West Indies would have survived 60 overs, man.
Will.
But it just goes to show how poor England were, and basically that's really it. There were a couple of moments, of course, we will get into the No Balls Awards in a second, because there were two incidents that we want to get into. But basically, it shows where the two teams are. I think for India, more of the same. You go up to Headingley now for the next Test match. If the weather in Leeds has been anything like it's been in Manchester, that's going to be damp, dark, and there's going to be lots of sea movement. So you probably go in with the same.
Occasions and pockets of glorious sunshine in Leeds. It otherwise rains a lot, like it does in all of England.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen the sun in a week, so it's fine.
Exactly.
I think I'm getting a bit of. I need a beach vacation now. Anybody watching, if you want to sponsor a nice beach holiday to like Ibiza,
go to Brighton. It'll probably rain there too, because you're still in England. But go to Brighton.
Yeah, I'm not going to Brighton. So anyone watching this show who wants to sponsor me a nice beach holiday, Ibiza, Mallorca, Algarve, maybe even Italy, I don't know, somewhere south of France, please feel free. We're going to put a link in and a GoFundMe account somewhere. Contribute to our channel. It will not go to my vacation fund. It will go to bettering the quality of the cameras on No Balls Cricket. Because,
sure.
One you can see and the other one, well, I don't know whether that's the camera or his face.
Basically, we're both using our laptops.
Okay, moving on.
This is not a professional.
Yeah. This is a family show.
Yeah.
Minus no, it's not. No, it's not.
Minus the non-family language.
Yeah, this is not a family show.
Professional setups. Back to the England batting.
Well, look, if their batting's as shit as their weather, then you have no hope. Basically, but they need it. So basically, what's going to happen? Sorry.
Even England's bowling is fairly shallow, and that's the other question. Yeah, I mean, you have obviously Jofra Archer's injury.
Well, I mean, England's bowling attack has pretty much been decimated by injury. There's Stuart Broad who's out injured. Mark Wood, who's now a possible casualty of this Test match. Ollie Stone's injured. Chris Wokes is injured. Ben Stokes is out. Jofra Archer is injured. So, I mean, where do you turn to? Saqib Mahmood is in line for a debut if there's any injury now.
And Mahmood is a promising talent at the very least. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
he bowls that and the way he can get the ball to move. We've seen it in white ball cricket. If he can bring that to red ball cricket, that'd be great.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of hope being placed in Sam Curran. Sam Curran's issue is that he right now is a fairly one-note bowler, so he will bowl magic balls and get wickets and at times very crucial wickets. But he's not a consistent enough bowler that you can rely on him for 15, 20 overs of great test match bowling in an innings. And that, I mean, he literally,
Sam Curran, who he reminds me of? And people of the sort of our vintage will understand this completely. What? Did I say something wrong? Is my English incorrect?
No, it's just you're making us sound a lot older than we are.
Tu buddha hai, Benchut. But basically, people of our generation will completely relate to this. But he reminds me a lot of Ajit Agarkar.
I would say Agarkar was actually probably a better bowler, maybe not as good or not as reliable a batsman.
But in terms of the bowling, I think Sam Curran reminds me very much of Ajit Agarkar. He's a complete golden arm. Let's get that wrong, because even he picked up Kohli in the second inning. But he's one of those very irritating kind of bowlers. You never know what he's going to come to. He can be very inconsistent. It can be awful and all over the place. But on his day, he'll be brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the point is there was a clear drop off in quality once the opening bowlers went off in the first innings. You could see the moment Sam Curran came on, Rohit Sharma was like, okay, time to tuck in. Which is actually a good sign to see, because we know left arm has previously troubled Rohit Sharma. But yeah, it was like you see it. The times where you've had Wokes and Stokes backing up Anderson and Broad or Archers in there somewhere, it's just not like once you have all these injuries, the drop off in quality from, to be fair, Robinson has been a good find, but the batsmen are just the batters are just the more they feel like they can switch off a bit after Anderson and Robinson go off. I
think the other thing that I can't remember who had written this, but they made a very good point. Because I've read a hell of a lot of articles today. I can't remember who wrote this, but they said that the last time India came to England, they still had the experience in their batting lineup. They had Alistair Cook, they had Root in the middle, they had Ben Stokes. Butler was in decent form as well. So they had that sort of steel to like sort of hold it together. And I know we lost that series 4-1, and it was a lot closer than 4-1 in reality. I think we just lost the big moments. Here we won the big moments, which is a big difference. But you just felt that if you got Root, the rest of the batting lineup there just wouldn't hold.
Yeah, exactly. It is definitely a case of get Root and get England, which is weird. For the longest
India
time,
in the 90s, no?
Yeah, India in the 90s. Honestly, in the last tour to England, it was India still then get Kohli and they were fine. And get Kohli that often and still they won. But yeah, it just there's just shallowness all around in this. There's no depth in this of quality in this side.
Yeah. Going through to the next test match, what do you say?
I just Kohli reminded me of talking about Kohli reminded me of a stat.
Go on.
Jasprit Bumrah has as many runs as Virat Kohli in this season so far.
Do you know? I didn't.
And Bumrah has a better batting average.
I didn't want to say this on air, but in the last week or so, I've just got this feeling that there's a really big Kohli knock around the corner, like a really big one.
I thought so too, because in this match he had that scratchy first innings where it looks like
the second inning he looked like he was there, then he fished at one.
Exactly.
But if he gets his shit together, I just feel that there's one massive inning around the corner, like a Joe Root kind of 191 to 200 kind of inning. And if he does it at Headingley, that'll be insane. But you just feel that there's something massive from Kohli around the corner. That's a.
If I recall correctly, the last time you went for an India Test match, Kohli got a double century.
That is, you did go for that. It was like 5 years ago, though.
That was the Mumbai Test against England.
Yeah, let's hope my luck carries on. Just off note before we carry on, No Balls Cricket will be live at Headingley. I will be there dressed as Super Mario. So, if you spot Super Mario in the crowd, please tune into No Balls Cricket later that evening. I will have my friend Luigi, not this friend, different friend, who's literally one of our panelists' older brothers. So that's pretty funny, isn't it?
Yes. Well, exactly. We can't call Siddharth the panelist
Well,
anymore.
not anymore. Former
Former,
panelist.
uh,
But yeah,
this,
check us out. We will be live. I will be live from Headingley on Instagram. I'll give you a few lives.
yeah.
Throughout the day, there will be lots of beer consumed.
Yeah.
Um, just fair warning for what's going to happen at Headingley. We will be there days 3 and 4. I think day 3 will be Super, or day 4 will be Super Mario, one of the two. Um, but we'll figure that out later. The other thing we will now move on to, since we have spoken way too much about this, and we'll just quickly wrap this up. Next Test match, England will make a lot of changes. Do you see India making any? I don't see them.
I don't think so. I think there was a lot of talk about Ashwin coming in for this test match. They didn't bring him in. I think they've just
I think he's
decided
probably the wrong place to bring him in anyway.
exactly. I think they've just decided, and I back this call that they've just decided that going with 4 quicks and a spinner is the way to go. And then Jadeja gets in not because he's the better spinner, but just because he's the better all-round cricketer.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
he's a
absolutely.
better batsman. Yeah, you don't see, barring injuries, which I don't think there have been any. You don't see the bowling attack changing.
Does Shardul Thakur come back in?
I don't think so. I honestly, I know it's a longish tail even after the way they batted in this particular match, but I think they would rather have Ishant Sharma in.
No, fair
Uh,
enough.
yeah.
He did come out. Ishant Sharma came out at number 8. That also.
Yes. A lot changes with this batting lineup.
Yeah. Now I think Shami will be 8 next game.
So Kohli was at pains to point out that they've spent a lot of time with the batting coaches in preparation for this tour. Um, it's shown. Jasprit Bumrah has hit some gorgeous. I hit that shot in the first match where he hit. Was it Sam Curran for 6 or Anderson for 6? I can't remember
It
which.
was Anderson.
Yeah, that pull shot.
Yeah.
Ishant Sharma hit a nice square drive off of James Anderson. So clearly these guys have the shots.
Yeah, they have the shots now. Anyway, so no changes for India, loads of changes for England. We really don't know what's going to happen to that team. They may be dismembered. They may have David Malan back. They may have James Vince back.
James Vince might be back.
James Vince might be back.
There's
Wow,
been
that'll be fun.
talk of James Vince and David Malan, who after they got dropped.
Didn't we end David Malan's test career 3 years ago? Was it Ishant Sharma that basically ended his test career?
I'm trying to remember when this was. Was it in that 2018 tour? Was it the Ashes series that England played later that year when Malan and Vince were in that lineup and they got hammered nearly?
Who knows? Anyway, but that'll be hilarious to see that. That would be like a proper throwback to 2018. And England going backwards a decade.
I think that Rahane and Pujara have done just enough to keep their places for the next.
I think so, and the other thing is, I don't think if I had a replacement, Vihari's not it. So it's a hard one. I think Rahane and Pujara will both be safe, especially after the third innings in that test match. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We still expect an Indian win in the next game.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of bias here, but there's just a clear gap in quality, I think. And if the Indian batting lineup gets it together, people that 3, 4, 5, if they can get it together, then it's too big a gap. Like if you have the openers plus 1 or 2 of Kohli and Pujara performing, I think that's game over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if one or two Pujara, Kohli, or Rahane had got runs in the first innings, we would have got 500.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically our thing. I have a feeling now we'll maybe wait for one more test match and then make a series prediction.
I mean, my prediction before the series was also that India was going to win.
Okay, fine. So we'll just go with it. I still think India
will 5-0, but okay. I would have said maybe 2-1 win. Now I'm saying 2-0 or 3-0.
2-0 or 3-0, yeah, probably.
Losing a test.
Right. On that very happy note, it is time to go into our favorite segment of this entire episode. We have, of course, this is a longer episode because we're in celebratory mode.
There was no timer, as you could see.
There's no timer today. That is by design, not by default. I have not forgotten to turn it on. And we are going into the No Balls Cricket Awards. Yeah. And yes, I am going to do that voice every time we do it.
that voice deserves an award of its own.
Yeah. But 2 awards to give out today. 2.
A few contenders also. We should.
Couple of contenders actually. Jasprit Bumrah for bowling a 10 ball over. I mean, we couldn't get past that. Plus, trying to kill James Anderson at the same time.
Yes. Apparently, people did not take kindly to Jasprit Bumrah's line of attack, and also somehow people thought he was bowling no balls on purpose, which I think I just don't understand.
Anyway, but we have one no balls award for complete, just utter brilliance in shithousery, and the other one an actual no balls award. Which one do you want to start with?
I think let's start with Jadeja.
Yeah, okay, fine. Thanks for ruining it.
We haven't ruined anything.
No, but anyway, so the no balls award for the week goes to Ravi Jadeja. In case you have missed it, it's on the 5th day. He comes on first ball, he bowls to Moeen Ali, pitches perfectly, goes straight on with the arm. Moeen Ali plays a defensive shot, gets a little edge through. Pant calls it. Umpire doesn't give it. Ishan Sharma yelling from square leg to Kohli, "Awaz aaya," which basically means there was a sound. There's a sound. Ishan Sharma from square leg, like not even around the bat, from square leg.
Let's be clear.
Yeah,
Ali was out.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So hang on. Let me finish the sequence of events. Right? They go upstairs. Umpire says no point. It's a no ball. Checked on Snicko. Big spike.
Yes.
So Ravi Jadeja, you are, out of all the people that I thought would win this award, he was not one of them. So well done, Ravi Jadeja. Talia. You are the winner of the No Balls Cricket Award for No Balls this week.
Yeah, we have a fun edition also.
We have a fun edition now. So the No Balls Award for shithousery, and we really only give this out when something hilarious happens. If you guys were watching the 3rd day, there was a little incident in the middle where there was a fan dressed in an Indian jersey that basically he's dressed fully in white, comes onto the field. This is just after the lunch break, right? And he walks onto the field, and the stewards go hunting after him. And the stewards look at him, and he's like pointing to his, I've got the badge. I'm an Indian player. You looked at the back of the shirt. It says Javo 69. Pot-bellied white guy. First white guy to ever play cricket for India. Well, after Stuart Binney and Roger Binney.
Oh, wow.
But Javo 69, turns out he's a YouTuber actually. And I will try and get him on the podcast at some point. But Javo 69, you win our, why am I calling him Javo 69? Does it go?
I think Javo 69 is just what we should call it.
All right, fine. Javo 69, you win our No Balls Cricket Award for shithousery. And you utter genius. The way he was pointing to the badge, just completely brilliant. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's our show. We will be at Headingley, as I said, next week. Not much cricket in the middle of the week. I think there's a test match between the West Indies and Pakistan, so we'll do a separate episode for that, and then follow that up with Headingley and the post game from Headingley. Until then, remember to like, share, subscribe. Don't do Florentino Perez's drugs. Be like Javo. And am I missing something? Oh yeah, click the floating subscribe button. The bell icon. Remain notified of all our impending dooms. And do you have anything to add, or am I talking too much now?
You're always talking too much, but I always have.
Really? Oh, really? Look who's talking.
Like I said, I always have something to add anyway. Yes. Also subscribe to us and listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and Podcast Addict.
And also, obviously, on YouTube.
Did you not already mention YouTube?
I didn't say the words YouTube.
Okay, well, that's your fault.
Okay. And also, we are on Twitter and Instagram at No Balls Cricket. We do post some fun stuff, and most of our lives will be on Instagram. So follow that. And till then,
the coverage will all be on Instagram.
What?
The Headingley stuff will all be on Instagram.
That's what I just said. I literally just said that.
You weren't being very clear, so I was clarifying.
Your face isn't clear.
Neither is yours.
Mine's perfectly clear. I can see it perfectly clearly.
Okay, maybe it's just because it's so bad I don't want to see it.
Again, look who's talking. It's a fun way to end.